Welcome back. This is round 5 of the Indiana Regional Championship between Jacob Rebescher, sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly, versus someone we've featured before, Joel Moskow. Now Joel, this has kind of been a good season for him so far. He went undefeated at a battle road that I've covered earlier this year. Here he is, 4-0 once again. And it looks like he's just running his same old Darkrai Sableye deck. We're going to see some Crushing Hammers, we're going to see some Night Spears, and maybe we'll see Joel get a victory here. I don't know too much about Jacob. Looks like, well, clearly a Rayquaza Eelektrik deck, as he starts with a Rayquaza and a Tynamo. The only way that's not an Eelektrik deck is if he just plays Tynamos to fake me out for some reason. But this should be an interesting matchup. A lot of people like to say that, well, the Rayquaza Eelektrik deck, well, that just beats Darkrai, doesn't it? You just Dragon Burst for 180, and you knock out Darkrai. What's the big deal with that? Pretty simple, huh? Alright, here's the deal. Yes, Rayquaza EX, it can knock out Darkrai EX in one hit, if you get enough energy on it. You know, Eelektrik, Dynamotors onto Rayquaza EX, knocks out Rayquaza, or knocks out Darkrai. No questions asked there. Alright, the problem is, when you knock out Darkrai, you discard all of your lightning energy. Which means, your opponent can then catch up your Eelektrik and Night Spear, knocking it out. Which means you cannot power up your next Rayquaza EX. Which means that Darkrai gets to run wild, and then eventually the Darkrai player usually comes out on top. So I would actually say Joel is at a big advantage here. This straight Darkrai Crushing Hammer deck is super good against the Rayquaza Eelektrik decks, just because, you know, it has Crushing Hammer to discard the fires off Rayquazas, and just a quick, oh wow, just a quick Night Spear is so devastating. The bench damage from Night Spear is amazing, and all that good stuff. Now Jacob, he got like a perfect start. He starts with the Rayquaza. He gets a couple Tynamos out here. He uses Dragon Pulse for 40 and discards 2 Lightning Energy. Those are the perfect 2 cards you want to discard, because you want to get Lightning in the discard to Dynamotor with Eelektrik. So sometimes Dragon Pulse backfires big time, and you discard 2 crucial cards, but sometimes it just goes beautifully and you discard 2 Lightning. So right off the bat, Jacob's just threatening a lot of stuff here with those 2 Lightning in the discard pile. Joel's got to be getting a little worried about that. But, you know, at the same time, it's only a little thing, and Pokemon can provide some long games here. And I really think if the games go really long, Darkrai ends up having an advantage, just because Night Spear is so powerful against Eelektrik and Tynamo. You know, hitting Eelektrik for 90 and then hitting a bench Pokemon for 30 is incredibly strong. Now Joel, ooh, he's got a nice combo there. He max potions his Sableye, gets a Dark on his Darkrai with a Dark Patch, and now he can play a supporter here. If he gets, you know, the right cards here, the Sky Arrow is in play. It's actually very dangerous to have that Sky Arrow out there. Now Joel, if he gets just another Dark Patch and an Energy, he can retreat and Night Spear turn 2, which is, I mean, the most devastating thing that can ever happen to an Eelektrik deck. So we'll see, does Joel have it? He's got a Crushing Hammer. I don't know how useful that'll be. I guess it will slow down Jacob by a turn there. Did Joel pull it off? You know, he discarded 2 Dark with his Juniper. I probably would have preferred to see him attach one. But then again, if he's playing so many energy, you know, there's no real reason to do that. Now he catches out a Tynamo. Maybe he forgot that Sky Arrow was out there. Unless he's getting a Night Spear this turn, that's a really silly thing to do. And looks like he does not get a Night Spear. So, yeah, Joel not only wasted a catcher, he actually made the situation better for Jacob by taking a, well, it would be a 2 Retreater out of the active spot and replacing it with a Pokemon that is free retreat, allowing Jacob to Dynamotor to a bench Rayquaza. You know, if he has a perfect hand here, it's like 2 Electrics and then a Fire and a Switch. He opened up the door for a shred, which you don't want to do. So Joel probably just forgot the Sky Arrow was out there. That can happen sometimes. You forget Sky Arrow Bridge is out there. You know, now that CMT is out of the format, you don't really care about Sky Arrow anymore. You forget what it does. But he's probably thinking, alright, I'll just catch her to buy time or something like that. But in that situation, you did more harm than good. To yourself. Gotta clarify that. You did no harm to your opponent, actually. Okay, so Joel, he's going to use Junk on here. He's actually got a ton of items in his discard already. He will get back a Dark Patch for sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dark Patch Energy Switch here, just so he can pretty much guarantee himself a Night Spear next turn. And that's exactly what he gets. Dark Patch and a Night Spear. The only way he's not going to Night Spear is if Jacob gets a catcher and stalls for some time there. Now, it'll be interesting to see what Jacob actually does. He doesn't have a very good hand at all, does he? He's got a fire, 2 catchers, an Ultra Ball, and a lightning, and yuck. I've seen this a lot with the electric decks. You know, you just hit these hands where for some reason you just don't get the supporters you need. He decides to put a fire on his Rayquaza, and then he's going to Ultra Ball for, looks like an electric, I would hope. So he'll be able to get a second energy on this this Rayquaza this turn. I apologize, it looks like the video is going a little haywire. Maybe maybe the video was getting a little shaky when we did this live, but it should be good nonetheless. But yeah, that crushing hammer from Joel actually made a big difference. It could have turned into a shred this turn, but now it's just going to be a Dragon Pulse. And I actually do not like this move from Jacob. Doing the 40 here is pretty irrelevant. You should probably just sit there. First of all, you should play a catcher for sure. Bring up one of those Darkrai's to make it impossible for Joel to Night Spear this turn. And then you should just sit back with your Rayquaza. No need to do 40 for no reason. I mean, just leave your Dynamo up there. Catcher out a Darkrai. Make sure Joel can't Night Spear. And then next turn you can Dynamo her, Shred, and you're in a good position. Now, with not playing that catcher, you have left the door open. You have opened Pandora's box, and darkness is about to run wild all over the place. So let's see here. Joel, he's got the Dark Patch, he's got the Energy Switch, he's got the Rain Receiver. I believe that got him a Juniper. So he's going to be able to get a Night Spear this turn. There's a Dark in the discard pile. Already, he's going to Dark Patch to the Darkrai with the Eelektrik. He's going to retreat. Yeah, Joel really just forgot Sky Arrow was out there, I think. The order he did that definitely makes it seem like he forgot. So, he's going to Juniper away an N, excuse me. So he needs to draw an energy here to Night Spear. And if he does, that's just, yikes. Bad news for Jacob. He draws a catcher as well. Now, he's got a weird decision. He could catcher an Eelektrik and then do 30. I actually think this is the much better play. Catcher Eelektrik, knock that out. Do 30 to Rayquaza. So we see a Dark Patch. Does Joel have an energy? I haven't seen it yet. Oh, is he going to miss another Night Spear? Okay, no. He's playing tricks on me. Alright, so Joel, he is going to be able to Night Spear. He can either just hit the Rayquaza for 90 and 30 onto a Dynamo. He's going to Ultra Ball here, discarding an N and a Sableye. Maybe he'll get a third Darkrai out here. This is going to help to thin out his deck a little bit. Get his Darkrai's on board. I do like that. Just, at this point, you have a fully powered Darkrai. So you're going to be able to, even if your opponent tries to stall for time with a catcher, all you have to do is attach, and you'll be able to retreat a Night Spear again. It thins out your deck. You're going to need that eventually anyway. So in this situation, good to bench the third Darkrai. And Joel will catcher Eelektrik. He should just do 90 and 30 to Rayquaza. And the next turn he'll be able to Night Spear that for a knockout. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's taking the first knockout here. This is very well played. So Rayquaza only has 120 hit points. Night Spear will knock that out next turn. And if you're Jacob, things are looking grim. You're hoping to top deck something there. And it looks like you didn't. Looks like he's gonna catch her. Ooh, he's gonna catch her Sableye. These guys are just ignoring the Sky Arrow Bridge. And Joel should just be able to retreat for free. You know, it's weird. The Sky Arrow is right there. Oh, okay. He's gonna take the Dragon Pulse knockout apparently. This will get him a prize. He should probably just evolve to Eelektrik at this point. Doesn't really make a difference actually. But he's gonna Dragon Pulse, discarding a Super Rod and a random receiver. Does he get anything off his prize? Can't see. Doesn't look like it though. And here comes Darkrai. You know, there's nothing Jacob could really do there. Maybe he could have catchered out the Darkrai with no energy and tried to buy a turn. Maybe Joel doesn't have an energy. That might have been the better option here. But I don't think it actually matters. He's just in a horrendous position, and yeah, Joel's just going to Juniper anyway, so he's going to get an energy. Apparently he doesn't have any more in his discard pile, which is strange. It seemed like he discarded a ton early on, but guess there's none left. He has a Dark Patch they just discarded. So he's going to attach to this other Darkrai. And then, you know, this game is pretty much going to be over next turn if Jacob doesn't draw anything. We're going to see Night Spear knock out Rayquaza, 30 to Dynamo. And does Jacob draw another basic or a Lightning to maybe Thunder Wave? The answer is... Alright, he got a Rayquaza. So he's going to hang on a little bit longer. And oh, Juniper, whoa. Alright, we could start to see things turn around here. We might be at the point of no return, though. You know, he lost his Super Rod. He's lost a couple Eelektriks already. You know, he lost an Eelektrik. He's going to lose another Dynamo here. He's down 2 prizes. Well, he's actually only down 1. But you got to think Joel is at just a major advantage at this point. Assuming Jacob can't get this Eelektrik out of the active, that's going to get knocked out. Joel probably just puts 30 on the Rayquaza. The next turn that gets knocked out, and then all of a sudden he's down to 2 prizes. There's not many little fish out there. No Dynamos, no Eelektriks. And where do you go from there? So, one thing Jacob could do if he has a switch is Dynamotor to his Dynamo and try to Thunder Wave. He could try to just buy some time to power up his Rayquaza. And that could be his best option here at coming back. So he's going to put down the Rayquaza EX. If he has a switch, he should Dynamotor to the Dynamo. I think that's his best choice. Just Dynamotor to your Dynamo. Go for the Thunder Wave. You know, it's a 50-50 shot of buying some time. It's painful if you miss, but all your other options are pretty painful too. I mean, if you Dynamotor to your Rayquaza EX, that doesn't really do much. Oop, but he's going to do that. And then it looks like he does have a switch. Even if he switches, like, what does he go to? Does he go to the Dynamo? That gets knocked out. Does he go to the Rayquaza? That just gets hit for 90. Then his Eelektrik gets hit for 30. And then that's a double prize on your board at some point. With Night Spears doing 30 damage to the bench. So I would have preferred to see the Thunder Wave here. But at this point, I mean, he doesn't have many good options to begin with. Maybe he can try to Celestial Roar, get some more energy on that Rayquaza, and get a Dragon Burst next turn. That could be an option. None of these are great options, mind you. He's going to be at a disadvantage no matter what he does, but at this point it's just figuring out, what is my best option? So he's going to switch, and I actually like this the least. Sending up your Rayquaza. The thing's got a 3 retreat cost, is not going anywhere, and it's going to get hit for 90 probably, unless Joel has a catcher, in which case that's even kind of worse. But if he has a catcher, there's not much you could do. But basically what's going to happen is Joel can just Night Spear the active, put 30 on Eelektrik, and then even if Jacob has a Max Potion or a Healing card, which I haven't seen either of yet, Joel is going to get a monster turn at some point where he can knock out 2 things at once, because the Rayquaza will be left with 30 hit points, the Eelektrik will be left with 30 hit points, so he can just, you know, knock out a Dynamo, knock out an Eelektrik at once, and then at some point that Rayquaza is still sitting there with 90 damage, and it's going to be game over. Just some double Night Spear turns. You know, Joel is pretty much just 3 Night Spears away from winning the game if he has Catcher. This is assuming Jacob benches another Pokemon, but you know, I think Joel at this point has it wrapped up. As weird as it sounds, I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? It's a 4 prizes to 5. And Rayquaza EX could get a knockout next turn, but the problem is just Night Spear will dominate at some point. Joel will get enough Night Spears off to win. This is just how strong Darkrai is against Eelektrik. I feel like there's no really coming back with Eelektrik against Darkrai. If you get a slow start, you're pretty much done for, because Darkrai is just going to start Night Spearing, taking out those Eelektriks. And what do you do to come back from that? You can't get energy in play. Even though you have stuff like N, it's so hard to just come back from 90-30, 90-30, 90-30, knocking out your energy acceleration, because you have to discard all of your energy every time you use Dragon Burst. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. We're just going to see straight up Night Spears knocking out Rayquazas and Electrics. And oop, there's a catcher from Joel. I actually think I prefer catching out the Rayquaza EX there. Hit that for 90, Eelektrik for 30, and then you put yourself in a pretty dominant position where you can't really lose the game anymore. When you do this, you just kind of wasted the 30 from your last Night Spear. This isn't a bad play at all, don't get me wrong, but I think I would prefer the other way to do it. This really makes it difficult for Jacob to get a knockout this turn, though. So this is the main advantage of taking out the Eelektrik with the catcher right away. It's going to make it super tough for Jacob to go... what's he going to need? Dynamotor, Lightning, Switch, Tool Scrapper, 180. And then if that happens, Joel just goes, you know what? I'll hit your Rayquaza for 90. And then this Dynamo, or the Eelektrik, for 30. And then it's just, oh... I win the game with a triple prize, knocking out Rayquaza and Eelektrik at once. So you can see just why Darkrai is so powerful against Eelektrik. Even if you can knock out one Darkrai, the next one's coming. And then even if you knock out that one, the next one's coming. And then you really just can't get rid of that one. Now Jacob, he really just needed to go all in there. I think, you know, he should have just played the Eelektrik down and gone for all the cards. If he doesn't get them all, he probably just ends up losing. I suppose he could have the fallback plan of Thunder Waving, but at this point, you're so behind that you just need to just put all your chips on the table and say, alright, I need the Switch, the Lightning, and the Tool Scrapper, otherwise I'm done for. He did leave himself with the Thunder Wave out, but I think in this situation, you're just better going for it. There's no pretty way to go about it. I know he's not even going to Thunder Wave, which makes this even more painful. He's not going to be able to win without Eelektrik at some point. But he's got the Tool Scrapper, and he's got an Eelektrik. He should probably just evolve and use Dynamotor while he can. Let's see what he does. He's going to retreat, and oh, he's just going to... Huh, kind of a strange move here. He's going to evolve. Okay, I don't actually mind this at all. Alright, so he's going to Dynamotor to his shiny Rayquaza. He needs to do that. It's part of the plan. Yeah, he's going to do that here. He's going to Dragon Burst for 120. And then next turn he can Shred for 90. I like that. This is making the best of his situation. So he needs the Dynamotor to the Rayquaza this turn. Next turn he'll have a Fire. And then another Dynamotor to Shred for the knockout. And then he's left with something that actually retains its energy when it attacks. You know, it doesn't have to discard anything for Shred. It just does 90. Goes through Eviolite. Everything is peachy. And the big problem at this point is just at some point Joel will knock out everything on your board because he's got too many Darkrai's. He's got 2 powered up. He's probably going to get a 3rd powered up. He's probably going to bench a 4th one too. Yep, there is number 4. If he can just attach an energy every turn, he's going to be fine. He's got a catcher in his hand. I actually would not play that at this point. I would just save it for next turn. You know, this turn you just hit the Rayquaza EX for 90, hit the Eelektrik for 30, and then next turn you get your triple prize for the win. And Joel looks like he recognizes this. You know, he's played very, very well this game. Jacob has as well, but there's just nothing he could really do with the cards he's been handed. He's got a Juniper. That's helpful. It's going to allow him to maybe draw some options. You know, if he plays stuff like Max Potion, he might be able to find a way out still. He plays an Ultra Ball. He's going to grab another Rayquaza EX. I don't see any sort of Max Potion in his deck, so he's going to be in some trouble. The problem here is that he loses instantly because Joel has a catcher. So unless he has a healing card, or, let's see, a Giant Cape or an Eviolite, he loses. So here's the Juniper. I see 7 cards. I just do want to comment that I really like Jacob's sleeves, by the way. Those Lugia sleeves are pretty sweet. Not to knock on Joel's, but Lugia is pretty cool than a solid color. And now I think Jacob was kind of looking for a catcher to at least draw some prizes on that bench Darkrai there. But at this point, he can't really prevent Joel from winning anyway. It's just going to be catcher Night Spear game. Nothing he can do. And Joel here is going to keep the train rolling. I believe this will be 5-0 for him. Really doing well at this regional championship. He's been on a lot of good runs here this season. And this will be no different. So let's see. Jacob, he's just going to try to find maybe what gives him the best option of winning. You got to think, no matter what he does, even if Joel doesn't have a catcher, if he just Night Spears every turn, he's going to take his 3 prizes at some point. But, I don't know. He's going to go for the Shred. I am a big fan of Shred, but it's not going to get the job done here. And then Joel should just catcher for the win. He's just going to take 90 with Shred. Catcher out that Rayquaza EX, get the triple prize for the win. This is just how sick Darkrai actually is. 3 prizes at once. So Joel Moskow moves on to 5-0 here at the Indiana Regional Championship. Congratulations to him. We might see him in some later rounds. But thank you for watching, guys. I am Pooka from the Top Cut. We'll be back. 3 more rounds to go from Indiana. Stay tuned.